Welcome to the first video in this new weekly format. Not sure exactly which day I'll be aiming to release these videos, and it'll probably vary a bit, but I'll be aiming to release at least one video a week for the foreseeable future. Let's first look at the current state of the account. Similar to previous videos, the main strategy of this account is selling short-dated options, with more puts than calls sold to maintain a positive delta. And these are protected with longer-dated options, though I will sometimes have extra shorter-dated cover as well. We can see I've got some short options on the 14th. I've got some on the 16th that was a roll from a previous position. On the 30th as well, we've got some shorts. Everything from that date onwards is all protection. So it's just long options. And we can see the overall position of the account here. Most of this long-dated protection was purchased when vol was quite a bit lower, some under 60 vol. You can see it's currently over 65 to buy any of this. Except the calls, they were purchased at a higher vol, but I don't mind this because it's just a spread. So the main strategy at the moment involves selling normally 2-day options, often with an extra put to maintain that positive delta that I want. And we can see that currently I do have positive delta. Something new that I wanted to show was some code for visualizing your positions. This code plots your option positions on a price chart. I'll release the code for this soon, but you can see it's quite a nice way to visualize where all the positions are relative to each other. You can see the very long dated cover here in June next year, and I can zoom in here and see my shorter dated positions better. And you can see the all of the positions listed on the right here. Down arrows are for puts, up arrows are for calls, and reds are for shorts, greens are for longs. And I've got the quantities written on there as well. If we go back to the account, we can see the account equity is sitting at about 0.266-ish. And we left the previous video at around 0.2605. So the account is up slightly since then, but the ride has been considerably bumpier than that might suggest. If we go to P&L analysis, this is the account value of this account since I started making videos with this account, basically. So that was back in November 2023. And the account is up, but obviously with some big dips whenever there's been big spikes in volatility. I'm normally short volatility, so those are going to hurt, at least short term. You can see recently the dip under 50k in Bitcoin, which we can see here, it's quite sharp. That led to a big dip in the equity, but I held the long deltas and just rolled them out, collecting a little bit more extrinsic, and the vols spiked there, which allowed me to collect quite a bit of premium when doing so. So when the price rebounded, at least partially, so did the account equity, quite quickly as well. In fact, the recovery was as quick as the fall. While this was happening, the cover did its job as well and kept the account safe, and the margin requirements stayed relatively low throughout the whole dip, even at the extremes. The longer dated positions in June also spiked. These were up over 70 vol, I think, if I remember correctly. I think the 40s were up at 0.11, something around there. So the margin requirements, I think, never got above 30, if I remember correctly. But if they did, it wasn't by much. So it was very much doing its job. If we look at the D-vol at the time, we can see how extreme the brief spike in volatility was. And this is 30-day vol. Remember, the shorter dated under a week vol spiked well over 100. So I was able to capitalize on that by selling some more short-dated options, which led to the equity bounce being so fast. So that's the current state of the account. I'll show now executing the next trade, and I'm normally using 2-day options at the moment. So for today, that's going to mean the 15th, because today is the 13th. And at the moment, I'm aiming for around about the 30 to 35 delta. And today I'm going to sell 1 put and 1 call, ideally. So the 58,500 looks good here. I'm almost always trying to get filled in the middle. I'll only cross the spread if I really have to, because I'm in no rush to get into these positions. I can wait. I'd like to get as close to mark as possible. Occasionally the mark will go past my order, so it'll be slightly worse than mark. Occasionally I'll get filled before the marks move past, and it'll be slightly better, but as close to mark as possible. So we're shorting the 58,500 put there, and on the call side, where shall I go? I'll go for the 6,500. If one of these orders fills, I will get slightly more aggressive with the unfilled one. There's the call filling there. You could see the mark of the puts actually going up a little bit, and it's well past the next tick I would have to do. I would have to mark it down to 95 basis points, which I'm happy to do, but I might get filled at 1% here, so I'm just going to leave it for now. As I said, I'm in no rush to fill these. I can wait. There we go, and we got both orders filled at our original price. So that's it for today's video. I'll be with you again next week at the latest for another update.